Hi, welcome to Subtracting Unlike Fractions, and if you followed my videos before or follow me in class, you know that subtracting unlike fractions is very similar to adding unlike fractions, and that there's sort of three procedural steps you need to follow. If any time you're wondering why we need to do these steps, I did address those in my adding unlike fractions video, so I would refer you to that. So this video is strictly just kind of looking over those procedural steps. So the first step, since they're unlike fractions, the denominators are different. So step one, we need to find a common denominator to make those equivalent fractions, okay, so that they're the same. There is a tool you can use if you need help doing that. You're going to want to look for that least common multiple, and you can find that quickly using a multiplication chart or listing out the multiples of the two numbers. The second step, subtract your fractions. And then, last but not least, is your answer in the most simplified form. So some students might need some help with that. So when we simplify, we're looking at the greatest common factor, dividing the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. And as a tool, you can reference a factor chart for that. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say I had 3/4 minus 1/8. Okay, so going through the steps, the first thing I notice is that I do not have common denominators. They're different. So I need to think about the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 8. Multiples of 4, 4, 8, 16, so on and so on, forever and ever. Or 12, sorry. Let's fix that. Shouldn't list my multiples so late at night. There we go. Whew, that was a close one. Alright, and then my multiples of 8, 8, 16, blah, 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 forever and ever and ever. They go on and on. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because right away I see my least common. Okay, my least common denominator should be 8. So let's go ahead and let's make both of these fractions out of eighths. Alright, well the good news is this is already an eighth. Woohoo! Don't touch it. Leave it alone. It's already an eighth. Let's change this fraction. Okay, so I've got 3/4, so that means I'm going to have to take the 4 and cut it up 2 more times to make 8. So what I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So instead of 3 pieces, when I doubled that, that'd be 6. Alright, step 1 is complete. Step 2 is subtract. Subtract 5/8. Step 3, can I simplify? Right? Think of those factors of 5, the factors of 8. You could list them, you could look at a chart, and you're going to find that, no, they don't share any other common factors other than 1. 5/8 is my final answer. Alright, let's try another one. Let's look at 2/3 minus 1/2. Okay, so first step, let's find that common denominator. So I can list out my factors of 3. I'm sorry, my multiples. Whew. Multiples of 3, multiples of 2. So multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, blah, 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 forever and ever. Multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, blah, 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 forever and ever. And I see what is my least common multiple, you ask? What is it? Do you see it? Do you see it there? Yes, it is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and make both of these into 6. Okay? That will be that common denominator. So let's start with 2/3. When I look at 2/3, 3 times 2 gives me my 6. So what I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So now 2/3 is now 4/6. They're equivalent. 1/2. How do I go from 2 to 6, right? Well, I need to multiply it by 3. So what I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So 1/2 is no longer 1/2. It's 3/6. Step 1 is complete. Step 2, let's subtract. And check Step 3, can I simplify or do I need to? I don't. 1/6 is my final answer. All right, it is your turn on your own. So grab a pencil, grab some paper, excuse me, grab any sort of charts you might need, pause the video, and here we go. All right, go ahead, write these down, pause the video, follow those 3 steps. Did you pause the video? You should have paused the video. Really, you should be writing this down. If you haven't written this down, I'm upset. All right, I'm going to assume you paused the video and you have your answer in front of you. So now let's check and see how we did. All right, for number 1, I've got 10 and I've got 4. Whew, those are some interesting denominators. Well, right off the bat, I'm sure I could make them 40. But I bet there's a smaller number I could use. Yeah, there is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make them both into 20ths. Okay? Now, if you're looking at yourself and you're like, I chose 40, don't fear. You and I may have wound up with the same answer. The only difference is, because your number's a little higher, you may have had to simplify a little more. So don't count yourself as wrong yet. Okay, so let's come over here. I know I need to make them both 20ths. So I'm going to start with 9/10. I'm going to have to multiply each of those by 2 to make that into a 20th. And over here, I would multiply those by 5. So notice, same top and bottom, numerator and denominator. Now I subtract across. Now I got 3/20. So my last step would be to check maybe a factor chart, list out those factors of 3 and 20, and I find that that is as low as I can go. So now if you did 40ths, excuse me, chances are you had to simplify here. Because I chose a lower common multiple, I didn't have to do as much work. So either way, as long as we got 3/20, we're in good shape. All right, number 2. I have 7 and I have 2. So thinking about it, I hope you decided to go with 14ths. Okay? So let's come over here. Let's make this side into 14. So that would be 7 times 2 is 14. So do the same on the top. So that becomes 12/14. And then 1/2, I would multiply by 7, so that's 7/14. When I subtract, 12 minus 7, that's 5/14. Checking my factor chart, can I simplify 5 and 14? I can't. That's it. So I hope you did okay. Thanks, guys.